Welcome to the Speak Uneasy podcast. Please support my show by like, share, and subscribing to the show. You can find my videos on BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. Catch my live stream shows on the foxhole.app or pilled.net. Follow my social media on the speakuneasy.tv, pilled.net, Gab, Facebook, Instagram, and CloutHub. You can also financially support the show by donating to my PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, or visit my merchandise store or join my Subscribe Star. You can also financially support the show by donating gold pills via the foxhole.app or pilled.net. All links can be found on the description box. Thank you and welcome to the bar.
Welcome to the Speak Uneasy, a safe space where cancel culture does not exist because we are in a different prohibition era.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Speak Uneasy with your host, the bartender. Tonight's random read is going to come off of the book of Luke, chapter 19, verses 1 through 10, Jesus' encounter with ZACCHAEUS. And Jesus entered and passed through Jericho. And behold, there was a man named ZACCHAEUS, which was the chief among the publicans, and he was rich. And he sought to see Jesus, who he was, and could not for the press, because he was little of stature. And he ran before, and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up, and saw him, and said unto him, ZACCHAEUS, make haste, and come down, for today I must abide at thy house. And he made haste, and came down, and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all murmured, saying, that he was gone to be guest with a man that is a sinner. And ZACCHAEUS stood, and said unto the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I have taken anything from any man by false accusation, I restore him fourfold. And Jesus said unto him, This day is salvation come to this house, forsomuch as he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man is come to seek and to save that which was lost. Once again, this random read came from the book of Luke, chapter 19, verses 1 through 9. Jesus' encounter with ZACCHAEUS. That was such a beautiful read. Here's my take on it. I guess you can say that it doesn't matter what walk of life we have as far as life goes, right? We are all with faults, we all sin. And there's always going to be salvation for us, but we have to make that we have to meet the Lord halfway. It's not one of those things where the Lord's going to come straight up to us and, do all the work for us. We have to put in some work into salvation too. I mean, that's part of having the relationship with Christ. It's a two-way street, kind of like a marriage. But I thought that was such a beautiful read, even though there were people kind of talking bad stuff about, oh, this man, he's of sin and all that. The Lord is he's not judgmental with us. And the reason I say that is because he loves us unconditionally. So my definition of, not my definition, but the definition as far as I understand, unconditional means with no conditions at all. So I thought that was such a beautiful read. And I hope you guys took something off that read too, because I have. So tonight's cocktail, we will be making a cocktail called Coconut Colada. Coconut Colada. We're gonna do a little bit. We're gonna do this a little bit different, only because of the ingredients. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and start off with 2 ounces of FLOR de CANA rum. FLOR de CANA rum. So we got 2 ounces of this. This is white rum. So let's go ahead and pour that to the jigger. So we got 2 ounces of that in there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put half an ounce of lime juice. Half an ounce of lime juice. Whew. All right. And now I have this thing, which is a coconut milk pineapple drink mix. This is by Gujin, and it's called pineapple with nata de coco. So we'll give this a shake, and we'll put about 4 ounces of this thing. Give or take 4 ounces. Pour that into the shaker here. It's very thick because it consists of coconut milk and pineapple juice, I guess. All right, now we're going to go ahead and put ice into the shaker. All right, we're going to close the shaker up. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to shake it. Here we go. We got to shake this up really good because it's kind of thick. All right. We've shaken it up. Now we're going to go ahead and pour this into the glass. It's just to use a coupe glass, but I don't have a coupe glass, so we're using a margarita glass. So we're going to go ahead and pour that stuff in there as is. It's not even, I haven't chilled the glass. I just kind of put everything in there. Of course, it's single strained, so we're not putting the ice in there. All right. Now for the taste. All right, here we go. Here's the taste. Okay, it's not too sweet, which is good. We didn't put any sweetener in there. We're just going off of the pineapple juice in this pineapple coconut milk mix is giving it the sweetness, which isn't that sweet at all. You just get the taste of the pineapple, but it's not quite sweet. So if you like a cocktail that's not sweet, this is it. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's okay. It's not one of those, oh my goodness, this is really good, like I usually say, because I'm more of a whiskey guy. We got rum in this thing. But nonetheless, it's a very drinkable drink. So here it is. The coconut colada. Cheers. And on to the show. So the first article of review for tonight will be from thefederalist.com. This article was written on July 11th by Audrey Unferworth. Article reads, Kamala Harris claims it's almost impossible for rural Americans to make a photocopy. Stand by for this one, guys. Vice President Kamala Harris infuriated Americans on Saturday after she suggested voter ID laws don't work because it's, quote, almost impossible for rural Americans to photocopy their IDs. Dude, are you I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to keep reading before I lose it. I don't think that we should underestimate what compromising on voter ID could mean, Harris emphasized in an interview with BET News, because in some people's minds, that means, well, you're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove that you are who you are. Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't. There's no Kinko's. There's no Office Max near them. Oh my gosh, dude. Man, I just want to... The ignorance. This is what people voted in. I mean, people have to understand that when we're talking about voter ID laws, be clear about who you have in mind and what would be required of them to prove who they are, Harris continued. Of course, people have to prove who they are, but not in a way that makes it impossible for them to prove who they are. Dude, this is like circular talk. This is lawyer talk here, man. This is dirtbaggery lawyer talk right here. It's like a dog chasing its own tail. I don't know. This is a hard article read today, only because of the stupidity in this is just blowing my mind right now. Like I almost want to throw my laptop. I want to throw my laptop to the wall or something, and I know it's not my laptop's fault. Harris' controversial interview initially aired on Friday and quickly drew backlash over the weekend for seeming incredibly out of touch with America. You think seemingly incredible? Seeming incredibly out of touch with America. Seeming incredibly. Like, that's even downplaying it too. Seeming incredibly. Why don't we take out the word seeming and just put incredibly out of touch with Americans? Because that's what she is. She's incredibly out of touch with anything. Well, as far as like using your... Well, let's not go there. Let's not go there. Because she's very in touch with other things, if you know what I mean. Oh man. Okay, so there's some Twitter stuff here that I'm gonna read in this article. So this one's from Chris Barron at Chris Barron from Twitter. Hi, I live on top of a mountain on the West Virginia border, and I can photocopy my ID. I mean, I do it while moonshining, white lightning while dueling banjos play in the background. but I can still do it. That's a good one, dude. That is a good one, Chris Barron. Here's another one from RNC Research. Kamala Harris absurdly says it's, quote, almost impossible for rural Americans to photocopy their IDs. And then Doug Hamblin responds, Doug Hamblin at Rock and Roll Rev says, I guess rural folks don't go to the doctor, buy cigarettes or alcohol or drive cars. I guess not. According to this cackling creature. Here's another one from Mom at Mom 18008390. I live in the middle of nowhere. I can photocopy my ID. She's so misinformed and so ridiculous. It's absurd. Yep. Here's another Twitter thing from the Bold Italic, at the Bold Italic. And it says here, there's a video clip attached to this. Obviously, I won't be able to play it for you. Actual footage of us leaving to go find a thing called Kinko's any moons ago in rural America, and has a picture of a man with a carriage and horses, and he's driving people in the back of the carriage. And it's an old vintage picture that's black and white with the guy who's the guy driving the horses, because that's what he's doing. He's driving the horses. He has a top hat. It's a black and white. Yeah. Harris remarks ignore the fact that there are countless ways in which Americans can photocopy their IDs. From cheap public copy machines to at-home printers. According to Pew Research, over 80% of rural Americans own smartphones, providing yet another means through which Americans can order copies of photo identification or can connect to at-home printing devices. Americans are required to provide identification to fly on an airplane, rent hotel rooms, and purchase, drive, and rent cars, among many other activities. Harris presumably isn't worried about these requirements. Obviously not. Another Twitter thing here from Joe Pilot MD at Joe Silverman 7. According to Pew Research, 80% of rural residents own a smartphone. Yeah. And then there was a reply here. That was a reply to this article that said, this was from Pattinson360 at rpat360. It says here, your entitlement is showing. People who make less than minimum wage and live paycheck to paycheck, that's who. People in rural areas don't have access to copiers. You're clueless. Yep. Former CIA officer Brian Dean Wright slammed Harris for her claims. We built this country. We can manage to photocopy our IDs, he said. Another Twitter thing here, BWD at Brian Dean Wright. That's exactly what he said, what I just said. Veteran and Pennsylvania Senate candidate Sean Purnell agreed. No one is buying this ridiculous argument against voter ID. The vast majority of Americans support it. Let's get it done, he argued. And that was on his Twitter thing in response to the RNC research about this whole thing with no access to copy machines. Purnell is correct to assert that the vast majority of Americans support voter ID laws. According to recent polling from the Associated Press, at least 72% of American adults support requiring photo ID identification to access the ballot box. While Republicans pursue measures in states like Texas and Georgia to mandate voter identification and limit election fraud, Democrats nonetheless decry from reforms as racist and otherwise problematic. Harris' absurd claim that rural Americans can't photocopy their IDs is just the latest among Democrats' attempts to dismantle election integrity. So that article was written. It was written by Audrey Unferworth, and it was published on July 11th of this year. So my thoughts. Here's my thoughts. This is number 2. So number 1, we already know, right? Number 1, we already know, like, he's lost his mind. So you have a person who's already out, like, way out there because he's lost his mind. And now we have another person here who's just on another level of the mind being lost. Very ignorant. Very hubris too. As I take a sip of my cocktail. But yeah, this is what people voted in. I don't see how this won, to be honest. I don't see how this won. I really don't. I mean, what else more can I explain about my thoughts on this article? She's in a bubble. She lives in a bubble. She's very ignorant. You know, it's freaking 2021. Like, many people out there have access to a lot of things. And you're telling me that there's no Office Max or FedEx Kinko's out there somewhere? There's other places too. I mean, you got the public library. You can use their stuff there too. You got a neighbor's house. I don't know, man. I'm just thinking, there's not much out of the box thinking I got to do in order for me to think, oh, well, let me make a photocopy somewhere. Even those mailbox places have but you can, they'll charge you, but you're still able to make photocopies of whatever you need to. Even at work, right? Even at work, there's photocopy machines at work. I mean, you're not supposed to use personal stuff for that, I would think, but at the same time, you have access to it. So, man, just based on a statement like that, people are not going to vote for this unless they think alike, unless people think the same way. And I don't want to, I refuse to believe that the vast majority of people think like she does. We're better than that. Yeah, this is mind-blowing. Vice President, number 2. Can you imagine that? Number 2? The thought. Just the thought. Like, if something was to happen to number 1, and then this one had to take over. Man, my opinion, here's my opinion. And this is all my opinion, right? Because I don't report on news. I just read these articles, and it's just like a reaction type of thing here on my cast. So I can only imagine that other countries are just laughing at us right now. Like, we're the biggest laughing stock of the whole world. I don't want to think that, but if these people were able to get away with stealing the election, because that's, in my opinion, that's what they did. There's no way that the majority of people voted for this. I refuse to believe that. I just do. So, all right, but that's my take on this piece of work. And I'm gonna take a break. But when I come back after the break, guess what we're gonna review? We're gonna review another article. And this one, man, this one is eye-opening. It kind of reminds me about the movie 1984, to be honest. So, yeah, just stay tuned or come back or do whatever you got to do and come back and we'll review the next one. So I'll see you on the next segment. Welcome back from the break, people. Welcome back. Here we go. Next article is going to come off the gatewaypundit.com. This one was written by Christina Layla, published on, again, July 11th of this year. The article reads, "Learn how to spot suspicious behaviors. FBI encourages Americans to snitch on their own family and friends." Wow. Where have we seen this before? The FBI on Sunday encouraged Americans to snitch on their own family members and friends. Family members and peers are often best positioned to witness signs of mobilization to violence. Help prevent growth, violent extremism. Visit go.usa.gov/ whatever it is, to learn how to spot suspicious behaviors and report them to the hashtag FBI, the FBI said Sunday. The FBI outlined suspicious behaviors to watch out for in a 32-page bulletin. Although the FBI surprisingly focused on Islamic terrorism, they describe behaviors by other homegrown extremists to watch out for. Based on the FBI's treatment of Trump supporters who attended the January 6th Capitol protest, it is clear that the feds are also encouraging people to snitch on conservative family members. Dude, for what, man? For having a different belief system? For example, the FBI views retweeting or linking to violent extremists as suspicious behavior. Get out of here, dude. Violent extremists, QAnon followers, and MAGA grandmas. Most of the behaviors listed below perfectly describe Bravo Lima Mike and Antifa terrorists. However, the FBI totally ignores their terrorism and focuses only on MAGA grandmothers. This is, dude, oh my gosh, man. There's a list. I'm going to read everything on this list. I'm going to read it all. Dude. I mean, this is crazy town we're living in, you know. Morality has definitely went out the door. I have no idea how this even, well, I kind of do have an idea how this happened, but it's gotten out of hand. And honestly, we the people, we're partially to blame for this. We are, and I've stated this on my live shows. I stated this before. We're not to blame fully for it because the whole system was designed for us to be distracted with things, right? Anyways, let me read on. Let me press on to this, dude. Homegrown violent extremists. Mobilization indicators 2019. Dude, 2019? Number 1, preparing and dismantling a martyrdom video statement will last will. Example, final statement. What? Oh, okay, I get it. Number 2, seeking religious or political justification for a planned violent act. Number 3, attempting to mobilize others to violence, especially family members and peers. Number 4, seeking help from family, peers, or authority figures to enable travel to join terrorist groups overseas. Number 5, preparing to travel to flight with or support terrorist groups. Number 6, communicating intent to engage in violent extremist activity, a threat with justification for action. Example, social media post, tweet, hashtag, manifesto. Number 7, suspiciously obtaining or attempting, illegally or otherwise, to obtain explosive precursors. Number 8, simulating. Dude, what is wrong with me today? Simulating an attack, assault, or dry run with focus on local or other real-world targets. Number 9, surveilling potential targets. Number 10, inquiring about jobs that provide sensitive access. Example, critical infrastructure, transportation, law enforcement, military, intelligence, community, in a suspicious manner. This is very general, dude. Like, this is, I mean, because one's action may seem suspicious to another, but is not necessarily suspicious. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Number 11, conducting research for target or tactic selection. Example, acquiring maps, blueprints, schematics, technical capabilities, planning and logistics information. Number 12, suspicious sending of financial resources, electronic equipment, or survivalist gear to people or groups overseas. See, like, something like survivalist gear. I mean, it's a given, man. Like, for me, I've already been through typhoons. I've been through a snowstorm. And I have stuff to be prepared for. And now that, I mean, if like, let's say, like, something happened. So because I have all these things, I'm going to be considered an extremist? That doesn't make sense to me. This is very general, dude. Number 13, receiving unexplained monies from third parties overseas. Oh my gosh, dude. Wait. They want to know where that money's coming from because they want to tax the shit out of you. Dude, this is all stupid. This is very general. Because they can be perceived as one person like this, but it really isn't. So this is very general. Like, this is stuff that people do almost every day. So far, you know, not in a suspicious way. It's just because probably that's the lifestyle that they live. That they live off the grid and all this stuff. So I don't know, man. Number 14, expressing acceptance of violence as a necessary means to achieve ideological goals. For example, communicating desire for revenge, promoting violent extremist narratives, sharing and praising violent extremist videos. Okay, so as far as the violence goes, at least a lot of people in this movement, we're not violent people, man. We do believe in self-defense, but we don't go out there and start saying, do this and do that. No. Matter of fact, for me, and I'm only speaking for myself, I understand that what we're going through right now is a very different type of warfare. And yes, I do believe we are in war. I do believe that this is a spiritual war. That's for sure. This is definitely an economic war. This is definitely there's wars can be fought in every which way you can think of, not necessarily just your conventional violent stuff going on, right? This war is being fought very what's the word I'm looking for? Discreetly. This war is being fought discreetly. I believe we're in a spiritual war. That's first and foremost. But then again, we've always been in a spiritual war. God and the devil has been fighting for freaking centuries, right? Number 15, attempting to radicalize others, especially family members and peers. So because we disagree, because we disagree with liberals, we become extremists. I don't understand that. Like, America is supposed to be the melting pot of different ideas. So just because a set of people don't agree with another set of people makes those people extremists? I don't get it. How did it become like this? This is stupid, dude. Number 15, attempting to radicalize others, especially family members. Okay, I read that one already. Number 16, creating or joining a group that promotes violence to address perceived social, political, or ideological grievances. Well, as far as I know, the people that I've met in the whole Make America Great Again movement, they're not violent. They don't condone violence. But like I said, we believe in self-defense, of course. Like who wouldn't want it? Who wouldn't defend themselves if they were being attacked, right? Look, I go to the Bible, man. This right here is how I attack. Is I use Christ's words against these principalities of evil. That's what I do. I fight this war spiritually because this is the state that we're in right now. Morality is totally gone out the door. And I don't understand how they can accept that. I don't know. Number 17, having an acknowledged or implied membership in or association with violent extremist groups. Example, individuals declare they are ISIS on social media, post terrorist symbols, green birds, flags, lions. They're beginning to do that with patriots too, man. And they're beginning to say that the American flag in itself is racist. And that's stupid. Some may even refute that the thin blue line flag is a very extreme group as well. I'm just saying. I don't think so. Is there a little political thing behind it? Yeah, of course there is. But I the way I look at it, it's promoting law and order, right? Supporting those who are supposed to be held up to their oath to protect the Constitution and our rights. Or in another angle that I see it, are not to overstep the boundaries of what they made an oath to, which is to violate somebody's rights, right? Number 18, participating in online sites or groups that promote violent extremism. Number 19, communicating directly with violent extremists online. Dude, like, what does this mean now? Because this is very general, and what's viewed as extreme now is it's very diluted. Because disagreeing with somebody can be seen as racist or extreme or whatever. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So this is speaking out of general terms. Because anybody can disagree with anything, not have ill will intent, but because it's out there now, they can be deemed as somebody who's like, just like me. Like if I say that I'm a Christ follower, people can take that as me being an extremist. I'm like, because I love Christ. Like I follow Christ. I don't know. This has all been convoluted. Number 20, seeking or claiming relationships with incarcerated or infamous violent extremists. Again, man, it's very general, dude. 21, encouraging or advocating violence toward individuals, military or government officials, law enforcement, or civilian targets. Like I said, man, anybody can just disagree and they'll take it to the dude. Anybody can just say like, okay, I disagree with that, and boom, you're gonna be labeled as some kind of extremist. We are definitely in different times now, because it's almost as if you can't even express what your views are. 22. Outbursts or behavior, including violent behavior or advocacy that results in exclusion or rejection by family or community. Again, it goes down to, if you disagree with a certain ideology, you're going to be deemed as such, 23. Producing violent extremist videos, media, and or messaging. Dude, so like sharing a video, here's a good one. Sharing a Trump speech, right? So does that make you extreme? And dude, he was the president, man. This dude, I'm telling you, man, I never thought in my lifetime that it will come down to this ridiculousness. Never did I think. Man, this list keeps going on and on. But I'm going to keep on moving and reading this to you, because you guys need to know. You guys need to know that, because if you think differently, you're going to be deemed as such. You're going to be deemed as such because you don't, this is like straight out communism. Like if you don't agree with this particular group, you're done. You'll be put in prison or whatever they plan on doing to you. You're going to get your reputation is going to be destroyed if you disagree. That's pretty much what I'm taking off of this. 24. Expressing desire to travel to conflict zones to fight with or support a terrorist group, or idealizing living among other violent extremist groups overseas. 25. Engaging in suspicious travel activity. Example, unusual purchase of one-way tickets, false excuses for intended travel, use of pass-through hubs, fraudulent application for new passport. Gosh. 26. Employing new or increased use of concealment behavior. Example, counter surveillance techniques, encrypted media apps, software platforms, disposable burner phones. Okay, so what if we just don't want the government to just track us because they have, it's none of their fucking business what we do? How about that? How about our privacy? So now living a private, having your own privacy is a bad thing? I thought the Fourth Amendment fucking protected us from that. I'm just saying. That's what the Fourth Amendment is there for. Illegal searches and seizures. Dude. I mean, even somebody who believes in the Constitution or the idea of the Constitution is going to be deemed as an extremist, which is stupid because that's the rule of the land, right? I don't know what I don't know what we're living in right now. I really don't, because this doesn't make sense to me. This does not make sense. 27. Deleting or manipulating social media or other online accounts to misinterpret location or hide group membership, contacts, or activities in support of violent extremism. 28. Suspicious building and or testing of explosives. Well, so what if you have some dude who has a grow house? And if you don't know what I'm talking about as a grow house, is somebody who's doing who's growing marijuana and who's trying to make hash oil, and the whole thing explodes. So now that guy's an extremist? I don't know. I don't know. Of course, investigations need, but dude, I'm just saying that's kind of where we're at. This whole thing is stupid. It's ridiculous. It really is. My opinion, right? My opinion. But then again, dude, even my opinion can make me an extremist. It's stupid. Free thinking is a crime now. Number 29, suspicious or illegal acquisitions of weapons and or ammunitions. Example, using borrowed or stolen ID to purchase firearm. Yeah, but a lot of people, the way they deem it now, man, they're trying to do the whole gun control thing. So even legally purchasing a weapon now is viewed as extreme. Dude, I'm telling you, man, like this whole list of things. I mean, yeah, of course, of course they got to throw in the word violent in there, but a lot of these things don't have the word violent in them, and a lot of them deals with what you think, right? If you don't think like a certain way, then you're an extremist, which is, I don't know, man. I don't know. Number 30, unusual purchase of military-style tactical equipment other than weapons. Example, personal protective equipment, body armor. Okay, so what's wrong with... Okay, so if you're making... I can see how that can be suspicious if you're making like tons of purchases for that. But if it's something to the effect of just you and your family members, you want to be prepared. I mean, look what happened last year with the riots, dude. And not only that, but these rioters started going into freaking suburban areas. So I don't think there's anything wrong with preparing for any possibility that can happen. There's nothing wrong with that, dude. Crazy, dude. Crazy. 31. Suspicious, unexplained, or unusual physical or weapons training. Example, multiple non-reactional gun range visits. Jeez, man, really? Or attempts to seek technical expertise. Flight training, dude, are you electronics, chemical? Dude, this is stupid, man. Like I said, you can go to the range and sign up for a shooting class, your basic shooting class, and that in itself will already be deemed as extreme because you want to learn how to fire a gun the right way. You see how this is all generalized? It's all generalized. There's no specifics to this. 32. Conducting suspicious financial transactions. Example, unusual applications for increase of credit or multiple lines of credit. So what if you just want to open up a business? You know what I'm saying? What if you're a conservative person who actually wants to live out what their belief system is, which is create their own business? And now when you go through these ways of doing such things, you're going to be deemed as an extremist, dude. You see how generalized this thing is, man? They can get you from any angle, dude. This is crazy. And shame on the agents who would actually arrest like hardworking people. Number 33, disposing of personal assets belonging in an unusual manner. Example, selling, trading, pawning, gifting. Well, what if you need money? What if you're broke and you need money to pay stuff off? And the only means of doing that is doing such things like selling, trading, pawning, gifting stuff. Dude, you see what I mean? You see how this is so generalized? What if you're a conservative person who just fell on like bad times and you had to sell things off or something? Like you're going through like financial stuff, like bad financial stuff. 34. Unusual goodbyes or post-death instructions to family and peers. Well, that's not usually unusual because sometimes people who know they're going to die, sometimes they don't usually like say it flat out that, I'm going to die. They kind of make their subtleties about how they're leaving. I mean, my brother is a good example of that. My brother knew he was gonna freaking die that day, and he was subtle enough to hang out with what he did on that last day that he lived was unusual. He hung out with my mom and told my mom thank you and told my mom how much he loved her. So you're telling me because he did such things that he's now an extremist? I don't know, man. Jeez, dude, I don't understand this, man. 35. Promoting violent extremist narratives. Example: the West is waging war with Islam. It's, quotes, us versus them, quotes. Violence is required to defend the identity group. Like I said, I don't condone violence at all. I fight this war by prayer, because this is the type of battle we're in. This battle is being fought very discreetly, very discreetly. It's not it's not your conventional war where people are, out there in the streets shooting each other. No, it's not. People are messing with people's own reputations now. They're messing with their financials. They're destroying people in other ways. So that's the way I see it. That's what I've been observing. 36. Engaging in outbursts, fights with family, peers, or authority figures while advocating violent extremist ideology. See, they throw that violent extremist ideology out because honestly, man, family members fight within each other all the time. They do. And a lot of it is disagreements on like political views or religious views. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like everybody has different, we all have different belief systems. And last I checked, America is supposed to be the melting pot of acceptance to everything, right? The most tolerable country in the world. But now it's almost as if like if you don't agree with the hive, you're falling into more than one of these categories. So I mean, dude, this is crazy. This is scary. This is actually very scary because if you're patriotic, you love Jesus, you love God, that makes you a target for being one of these. It does. 37. Isolating oneself from family and peers, particularly if believed to be associated with violent extremist doctrine or ideology. 38. Adopting more than one violent extremist ideology. 39. Rejecting non-violent voices in favor of violent extremist ideologues. What? Rejecting non-violent voices in favor of violent extremist ideologues. Example. Anwar Awlaki. Number 40. Dehumanizing people who are not in the identity group. Here we go, dude. So this number 40. Okay. Here's the examples. Non-believers, followers of other religion ideologies, including other variants of Islam. Okay, so number 40 is this is fucking asinine. Like, this whole thing debunks the whole list. Because liberals dehumanize us. They dehumanize people with conservative values. They dehumanize us. So number 40, in my opinion, kind of debunks all this stuff right here because, like I said earlier, last I checked, this country is the melting pot of all sorts of ideals, right? Like everybody has a different belief system here. I don't know. Number 41, praising past successful or attempted attacks. But that's what the left does. They praise it. They call for it. Dude, do you even remember the celebrities calling for the assassination of number 45? Aren't they part of this freaking list? Right? I mean, if we're going that direction, if you're listing all these, aren't those celebrities who called for 45's assassination part of this list? The double standards, man. Number 42, condemning behavior of family and peers based on violent extremist doctrine. Example, denouncing lifestyle choices such as clothing, music, religious practices. 43, changing vocabulary, style of speech, or behavior to reflect hardened point of view or a new sense of purpose associated with violent extremist causes. Okay, so when I started being more serious about having a relationship with Christ, and my behavior kind of changed and my style of speech kind of changed, so does that make me bad? You see how this thing is all generalized? It's all generalized, dude. 44, consuming or sharing violent extremist videos, media, and or messaging, retweeting links retweeting or linking to violent extremists. Like I said, man, you can share the flag just waving, and people will say, whoa, that's racist. That's extreme. I'm just saying, dude. That's where we're at now. 45, researching or discussing ways to evade law enforcement. Okay, so here's another twist to that. Oh, I shouldn't say twist. So if you know your rights, like if you're studying the Constitution and the Federalist Papers and all that stuff, that makes you an extremist because you want to know what your rights are, or what you're protected from by the government, right? That's how they're going to spin it. You know, oh, you constitutionalist. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Like that's like one of the foundations of this country, dude, is the Constitution. The Bill of Rights. That's why it's called the Bill of Rights. Oh my goodness, man. Okay, 46, lying to law enforcement officers, obstructing investigations. Okay, well, here's the easy part to that. You just don't say anything, because they always tell you in the Miranda rights that you have the right to remain silent, right? So just remain silent, dude. Hash it out in court, though. You know, don't do the whole court hearing out in the streets. Like, let them do their thing. And if they're wrong, then let that be known in court. Like, hash it out in court, you know. Just go through the process peacefully. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's why we have I want to say that's why we have a justice system. And I know a lot of people are losing faith in the justice system, but just let it play out that way. If there's a disagreement you have with the law enforcement official at the time, don't bother to have court right there and then. Just go with the process, and if things pan out to be wrong, let it pan out in court. Okay? Because we don't want anybody getting hurt. We don't want the law enforcement official to get hurt, or we don't want the person who's being brought to jail get hurt either. And plus, you don't have to tag on an extra charge to whatever you're being taken to jail for. You don't want to have to add on to that, because now that gives them firepower to prosecute you. Even if they're wrong in one thing, now they have this to hold up against you. So just go with just let the process pan out. Okay? Because if you really believe in the Constitution and all that stuff, that's how you'll handle it. Is it an inconvenience? Yes, it is a little inconvenient at the time, but it's probably your safest way to handle things. All right. That was the whole list, dude. So it says here on the FBI Twitter thingy, family members and peers are often best positioned to witness signs of mobilization to violence. To help prevent homegrown violent extremism, visit their website to learn how to spot suspicious behaviors and report them to the hashtag FBI, hashtag national security. So that was from the Gateway Pundit, written by Christina Leilig. This was a good article. I'm so glad that they posted here the list. Even though I think that even though we all have different point of views, they're gonna associate your point of view with one of these things right here and say you're an extremist. But like I said, number 40 just destroys everything, which is kind of stupid, man. I'll read number 40 again. Dehumanizing people who are not in the identity group. People who are not in the identity group. So that destroys everything that this whole list is about. Right? I don't know. I'm just using common sense here. What do I know? Okay, so, man, that was a long article to review. And I was talking in between reading this whole thing. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. So, as I end every show, and I sure do hope that I see you guys again. You can check me out on. I'm gonna do a few shameless plugs right now, and I think I got to start doing this because, in order for me to fund what I'm doing, I have to start plugging my stuff out there. So you can. I have. Oh, geez, what am I trying to say here? Okay, so I have a merchandise store that you can visit. All the links are going to be tagged on the description box of the podcast. So please come over to the merchandise store and check it out. I'm going to be throwing out a new design of a shirt soon. I just haven't had the time to get around and doing it, and I know it doesn't take that long to do, but being a content creator who's doing all this by himself is a very difficult thing, because I have to do all this. I have to prepare to make content. I have to do the research. I have to find what I'm going to talk about. I have to do the actual show. I have to do the edits. I have to do all sorts of stuff. I do, and if you want to financially support the show, you can support me via my Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Those links are going to be in the description as well. And go ahead and check out my website, thespeakuneasy.tv. I have to start updating that website, and I have to see if I can get somebody to manage that for me. So, yeah, go check it out. I know it has potential to be even more badass, and I'm probably going to be doing that as soon as I get more financial support from my listeners. So please support me, man. I have big plans for this podcast to grow to be something cool and something different from every other thing out there. Believe me. Follow my social media as well. I'm on Gab. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on CloutHub. I'm on Twitch. I'm on DLive. I do have a Discord as well. So, yeah, all that information is going to be in my description box there. So go ahead and give that, check it out. Anyways, I've been talking too much, and it's time for me to close the bar up. So, as I end every show with all you guys out there, with that being said,
the bar is now closed.
I can't help but wonder if I'm under a spell. It's more than a passing notion. I've never fallen with such devotion. I can't help but wonder if it's only a dream. Am I naive or can I believe that things are really as they seem? Can anyone explain it? How to understand what's true? I know I just can't tame it. Whenever I'm with you, I can't help but wonder if you wonder about me. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be. Can anyone explain it? How to understand what's true? I know I just can't take it. Whenever I'm with you, but wonder if you wonder about me. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be.